about my different audiobooks and using AI versus my own voice. Uh, Overwhelmingly, it was wanted to use my voice versus the AI that I've been using. So what I did is I decided I'm going to read this short story that I attached to my Patreon last year. It's a Halloween themed one set in the Dwemhar realms. So at least we can have a little bit of a story here and see what you think of this versus the AI. All right, Pumpkin Slice, a legend of Master Blackrune. They were deep into their second barrel of ale. Both were farmers in the southernmost region of Taria. This time of year, gourds of all kinds were plentiful, and a good harvest preceded a lovely payout, and with extra gold, Luvi and Rodu had taken their hard-earned income for a bit of a splurge. As it was, the night was perfect. A cool breeze and the scent of spice was in the air. The inn that they were in was one that had prized pumpkin pie. Now, having added just a slice or two of that, the two men were settling into their chairs, with a view of the dark woods and a massive pumpkin patch. The patch was known far and wide as the best place to source the best of pumpkins. Though Rodu didn't quite know why yet, Luvi had been dead set on coming here. It was the night of the hunting moon of Taria, a special night of celebration for people of these parts, a simple enough tradition for simpler folks. This pie reminds me of something. A story, Luvi said, smacking. Reckon I've had enough of these here spiced ales to tell a good reckoning rendition of a story. A story? Rodu asked. I'm expecting you've had too much pie and ale. What I worry about is this ale turning into another barrel. Would hate to be kicked out of this place, or worse, pass out here. Haven't you heard of the vampires in other parts of Taria? Don't want to end up having to wander the dark roads. I don't think you need to worry about that. Plus, I think they may be near the dry, and he said with a smile, and we're not like drunken dwarves. We're better. But let me tell my story. It's straight from the mouth of my grandfather. Then we'll see what you say. Louis scraped the last bit of pie into his hand and ate it while Rodu poured more ale. Sure, you tell your old reckoning of the past. Do what you must. I'll just sip. I want to finish this here ale and then get some shut-eye. Well, you'd like to know a bit of history of this place, this lovely patch of perfect pumpkins. That wasn't a question, Rodu said. Nope, wasn't, Luby went on. This place here, it's a rather special place for the last 100 years or so. The first one was quite a different place, headed by a pumpkin farmer by the name of Master Blackrune. And some said he was one of those magicians. But he didn't cast fireballs at random like some of his type, no. He'd grow the biggest pumpkins. Then one day, where we had the largest pumpkin you'd ever seen, some of the villagers asked questions, but most were just amazed. It started a tradition of nightly stories for weeks, told around a roaring fire. You'd have the crickets singing and the frogs a-croaking, and it'd just be one of those relaxing revivals of revolutionary revelry. Master Blackrune told of far-off adventures and hidden folk just around the pine trees. Told of the swamp monsters in the western swamps, and even of the beaver gods. Quite a tale of tales, you know. Rhoda looked over to him from just over the rim of his ale. You okay? I'm just getting started. Ha! So as I was saying, a relaxing revival. Then came a man by the name of Master Lurdig. A northern man with one of those wide noses. Kind of reckon are far too annoying to be accepted amongst more sensible of folks. Some even said he was of the city of Fienar. You know, those people are already not the common folk, mind you, but those gold-gathering fools. Well, he had something against Master Blackrune, and to be honest, they spoke back and forth in a language I didn't quite know. Master Blackrune seemed rather disheveled after the argument, they say, and immediately went to work in his home. It was a long year, and Master Blackrune didn't appear very often. Some have begun to believe he was dead, while others assumed he was deep in his magical arts, working on something. There were many times there were strange flashes and fumes coming from his house. As it got back closer to the colder season, when the cicadas quieted down, you could get that good and wondrous breeze. He appeared one morning, much to the surprise of dozens of locals, with an entire field of massive pumpkins that made his one from the year look, well, tiny. He gave instructions to those that had come to him. Now don't be too hasty with your celebrations, but we have a visitor is coming that is of the utmost unscrupulous kind. If you remember last year, Master Lurdig, well, he said that we are nothing but worthless types, said we are fodder and should eat bugs instead of pumpkin pie, and I said he should return at the night of the hunting moon of Taria, and I tell you, that time is upon us. Now, the most important instruction that I can give you, go into your homes and do not come out no matter what you hear or see. Now the villagers back then were about as you'd expect them to be. They didn't have no good listening skills, as some might say. Most of them got their youngins inside beneath the quilts. But a large group of them, including my grandfather, gathered up in the old mill house down the road to watch for this Master Lurdig. The moon rose high in the sky and painted the woods and pumpkin patch with a great and bright light. There, Master Blackrune waited as the clicking and clacking of a distant carriage came, and with it, Master Lurdig appeared. I told you to stop your magic gourd-making, Blackrune. I come back, and you dishonor the old ways with crafting dozens of these massive things. And I, Master Blackrune said, told you I'm not listening to one that would see themselves superior to any, none the less those that cannot hurt you. Those harvests can feed any in this village, and in more villages around here. There's a sign of coming droughts in the years ahead. Those of the High Council of Faderban have seen it. You'd have them eat bugs when they could have their fill of pumpkin, and you threatened me, so I did what I must. At this point, there was no more talking between the two of them. Master Lurdig began hacking apart the pumpkins, and then Master Blackrune tried to stop him. Master Lurdig struck him down with a black cane. Then, as he recited the words of a language that none present could decipher save the two of them, he struck him over and over, as if Master Blackrune was just another pumpkin in the field. The villagers watched, scrambled to grab their tools, to have any form of weapon they could muster. They headed towards the field with pitchforks and shovels and wood axes and even a dull sword or two. But they were only hurrying over to find a massacre of every pumpkin, and at worst, Master Blackrune himself. His head was split apart, and in the bright moonlight, the murder of their magician struck a chord. The villagers charged after Master Lurdig, catching him, just getting into his carriage, but he had some form of devilry around him. He lifted his cane, and a star exploded around him and his cart. Several of the farmers burst into flames, and his horse became like a fiery beast. The farmers fled in different directions, and he chased down each and every one of them, shouting proclamations that he burned every home and building in the region, that we all of our people were all lessers. It was then my grandfather returned to the field, hiding in the pieces of a pumpkin as the clicking and clacking of the strange northern man returned. After I get you, I'll get the rest. Your wives, your kids, all of them. They'll be dead. No one can be hungry if they're all no longer needing to eat. Master Lurdig cackled, a horrid cackle, my grandpa would say. But then them their pumpkin carcasses moved together, their vines twisting around my grandfather, until they took hold of Master Blackrune's body. Yes, then his body stood up as if he was alive. And he looked towards my grandfather and said 4 words. Pumpkin slicing is rather enticing. Then, pulling a dagger from the corpse, his eyes flashed orange, and the entire patch became like a web of broken pumpkin and vines. Master Lurdig cast a mighty show of fire and flame, fighting Master Blackrune, the pumpkin monster, and though he shouted and hollered and screamed something fierce, all that was left were the bloody robes of the pig of the man from the north. After that, Master Blackrune promised my grandfather that he would always watch over them, and most importantly, that the greatest of pumpkins would always grow right here. He gave him a special necklace, black with an orange jewel, to call him if he was ever needed. But, and this was important, it had to be at this time of year. There was a long silence between the two old friends. The wind whistled above the inn, and the sound of the scratching tree limbs rose and fell. Rodu finished his ale. And we've known each other for years, and you're just now telling me this story. Livy smiled. Pumpkin is rather good. My grandfather knew it, and Master Blackrune gave him what he did. Yes, and? He passed it on to me, Livy said, pulling out the black medallion with its orange jewel. I say we go lead Master Blackrune to make sure the vampires on our borders stay away. Might as well on such a perfect night. I think you've drank too much, Rodu said. I'm going to lie down. Livy smiled as Rodu headed inside. Good night, my friend, he said. Now alone, He put on the necklace and looked out to the pumpkin field. As he approached it, the necklace began to glow and the pumpkin vines began twisting up before him. He glanced up, seeing something in the far distance, a blackened form and some creature of terror or whatnot. Before him, a figure with orange eyes and arms made of pumpkin vines looked at him. I wonder how enticing the pumpkin slicing shall be, he asked. It's a hunting moon for a reason. Let's go. All right. Well, that's that entire story. A little short story, nothing crazy. But I do hope, even though this was a shorter video, that maybe you like it a bit more than the lives. You like the lives a bit more than the AI. So anyway, I am JT Williams. I am the author of that. Again, it's not a published story. It's just one that's available on my Patreon. But if you like this, let me know. Thanks.